So we began a new chapter, it was chapter 5 with algebraic expressions, and this is lesson 1. When we said algebra, what did we start saying that we now have in our problems? Letters. What's a letter called? What's the math term for that letter? Anybody shout out the answer? Variables. So now we have variables, okay, in an algebraic expression. So numerical expressions are only numbers. Algebraic expressions have numbers and letters, but the letters represent a number that is missing that you have to solve and find out what that number is. They both have operations. Operations were like adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. One thing that we focused on yesterday also was that in multiplication, the sign is often omitted, which means it is not there. So we would say this is 6 times D, 9 times S times T, M times N, and this would be A cubed, which is A times A times A. One other thing that I want to mention to you, in algebra, instead of writing 6 times 7 or 6 times 7, we write it as 6 times 7 with the parentheses. Do you guys understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So like when they give you a number for D to replace it, we would write it like this. Okay, then we did a bunch of examples yesterday. We also used it with story problems, putting it in for that. And then we started to write the expressions. We put stars right here because I know that this is where we struggle when you have to define a variable. What that means is to find what we don't know. Okay? When you define a variable, the variable is something you don't know. So you're going to figure out what you don't know. And we gave an example, for example, number 5. And we also did it for number 6. And that came up in our homework or our classwork that we did yesterday. So let's now begin grading that. I'm going to be very particular on how you show your work. They gave you the problem. If I had to write it on a separate sheet of paper, do I have to rewrite my problem? Yes. Then it says, I know what D is, so then I just bring down the 2, bring down the parentheses. I just keep bringing it down. D equals my 8, so I put 8 in for D, plus 9. Order of operations, you do what's in the parentheses first. So what is 8 plus 9?
17.
40. So then I put the 17 in the parentheses. So 2 times 17 is what?
28.
I don't know, and I said we can't use a calculator, so 17 times 2. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is
34.
So then my answer would be 34. Notice that I'm coming down in like a V. You guys see that? I'm spiraling down. I just have to rewrite this. D is 8. So I just say it's 8 over 4, which is like saying 8 divided by 4, which is 2. Notice in algebra you're going to see division written a lot of times like a fraction. You're not going to see the division sign. Okay? You're not going to see, you're not going to see 8 divided by 4. You will not see it like this in division or in algebra. You will see it more like this. So then we have, what does it mean when 2 letters are next to each other? What does it mean? Multiplication. So So E is 3, F is 4. Do I just put them next to each other like that? What do I put around them? Parentheses. Over 4. Then what's 3 times 4? And 12 is over 4, so then this is 12 divided by 4, which is 3. We're just, when they give us the letter, we're just filling it in. So then I have, what operation am I doing here with 4 and F? Multiplication, 4 and F, or multiplication. So 4 times 4, put the 4 in parentheses, plus what is D? 8. So then I do 4 times 4 is
16.
and then 16 plus 8 is, and I write it underneath. I just keep going down and down, breaking it apart. So now I have 5 times, what's D? 8 minus 25 over 5. Then I'm gonna do 5 times 8 first, which is what? 40. So I'm gonna show that, 40 minus 25 divided by 5. Then I'm going to do 40 minus 25, what's 40 minus 25?
15.
So then I have 15 over 3, which then equals?
15 over 5.
Oh, 5, sorry, thank you. I was getting ahead of myself for my answer. So 15 divided by 5 is? 3. D squared, D is 8, so I say 8 squared plus 7. Do not square it first before you put it down here. When you replace that number into the letter, I want it rewritten first. And then 8 squared is?
64.
So then I show 64 plus 7, and what's 64 plus 7? 71. Because 7 plus 4 is 11. D minus 4 over 2. D is 8 minus 4 over 2. Do not do that in your head. I want to see the step, because it's going to get harder. So then I do 8 minus 4 is 4. And I'm showing 4 over 2. And then 4 over 2 is 4 divided by 2, which is 2. You have to show every step. 10 times the quantity. What is E?
3.
E is 3, so I do 3 plus 7. Then I do 10 times the quantity. What's 3 plus 7?
10.
Showing me with the parentheses. Do I have to have parentheses around the first 10? No. You at least have to have it around the second one. And then 10 times 10 is? 100. 2 times, what's in parentheses? Negative 1 over 2. 2 times negative 1 is? Negative 2. A 2 times a negative 1 is a negative 2, because a positive times a negative is a negative. So I have a negative 2 over 2. So it's 2 divided by 2. 1, but 1's negative and 1's positive, so it stays negative. Raise your hand if you got all 9 correct. Raise your hand if you only missed one of them. Keep your hands up, don't put your hands down. Raise your hand if you only missed 2. Keep your hands up, don't take them down. Okay, going on to number 10. The expression 5n plus 2 can be used to find the total cost in dollars of bowling, where n is the number of games. If you didn't underline in your story problem, you need to be doing that now. The number of games bowled, and 2 represents the cost of shoe rental. How much will it cost Vincent to bowl 3 games? So I start with my original equation, 5n plus 2. So then it's 5 times, what's my n? 3 plus 2. So 5 times 3 is?
15.
And then 15 plus 2 equals? So it's going to cost $17. A car rental company's fees are shown. Suppose you rent a car using option 2. So this is option 2. Notice I've kind of already marked on here for you guys. Write an expression that gives the total cost in dollars for driving M miles. Then find the cost for driving 150 miles. Okay. So if I rent the car, I start with a $50 fee. So that's what I have to start with. $50 plus 17 cents per mile. If it's per mile, am I gonna add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Multiply. Per means you're gonna multiply it by that. So it would be 0.17 times, do we know how many miles? That's my X. So then I have $50 plus 17 cents, and I'm driving, now I know I'm driving 150 miles, so take that times 150. So now I have 50 plus, I have to do 17 cents times 150, and you get $25.50. If you don't know how to do that, you come over here and open some space. 150 times 0.17. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 makes 10. Cross off what you've used, add a 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. Add them all up. Then you count your decimals, 1, 2, and I bring it over 1, 2, and that's how I got the $25.50. Then when I add these, make sure you're lining up the decimals. $50 would be 0.00 plus 25.50. So that adds up to $75.50. How many of you got number 11 correct, including the equation? So a lot of you are fixing it. Number 12. Refer to exercise 11. Suppose you rent a car using option 1. So now we're going to use option 1. Write an expression that gives the total cost in dollars to rent a car for D days and M miles. I'm going to stop right there. So it's $19.99 per day. Per means to what? Multiply. So I'm going to do $19.99 times D, because that's how many days, plus 17 cents per mile. So it's 0.17 times M. Now I'm gonna go back and it says find the cost for renting a car for 2 days and driving 70 miles. So now I have my $19.99, but I know that I'm multiplying it by 2 days. Plus 17 cents times 70 miles. So $19.99 times 2 is $39.98. Plus 17 cents times 70 is $11.90. Make sure when you add them, I am lining up my decimals. So I've got $51.88 would be my total one. I'll put that right down here. How many of you got 12 correct? it looks to me like the word problems are probably most of our struggle. What I want for you to pull up in front of you first, just slide your book off to the side and leave it so we can open it up to the pages if we need to, so stick something in there. And look at the worksheet I gave you. You do not need to use the lined paper that I gave you to go with. But right now I want you to do number 5. Thank you. Number 5, number 7, and number 9. When you're done with all 3, you may stand up. Do them right on your paper in pencil. Try these problems. You have 3 problems to try. Okay, let's see how we do. We're gonna just say standing. You can write right underneath of it, couldn't you? Isn't there enough space there? So I have 3 plus 4, and that's 4 times z. So I'm gonna use my parentheses because I'm putting in a number. So z was 6. Then I show 3 plus, what's 4 times 6? 24. And then 3 plus 24 is 27. Sit down if you missed a step.
I thought that was 8.
This is y squared. So what is y? 5. So I just write down underneath of it 5 squared. 5 squared is like saying 5 times 5. So what's 5 times 5? 25. 9 is like z, which is 6 over 2, which is, we're saying that that's division. So
30.
6 divided by 2 equals
3.
Have a seat, please. Let's try.
Don't need the calculator.
I'm just gonna give you 2. I'm gonna give you 13
And 14.
and 15. No calculator.
Multiplication chart. You don't have a picture of it?
I deleted that by accident.
Oops. 3 times 9.
Huh?
Do it,
Stay standing. So this is 3.3 times what? 9. Now I cannot do that in my head, and I said you're not getting a calculator, so I would rewrite it up and down over here in my space. 3.3 times 9. So 9 times 3 is 27. Then 9 times 3 is 27, plus 2 makes 29. I count my number of decimals. 1 decimal, so I come over 1 decimal. So I'm going to rewrite my answer as 29.7. You had to show both steps. 15. 2 times P is 9 plus 3.3. I know 2 times 9 is, so I'm going to write 18 plus 3.3. Okay, but I don't want to get this wrong and think I can do it in my head like some of us think that we can do, and we get it wrong. So I'm going to do 18 plus 3.3, because you have to line up the decimal. If you have a whole number, the decimal is always considered right at the end. So that would be a 0. So 0 plus 3 is 3. 8 plus 3 is, no, what's 8 plus 3? 11. Leave the 1, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is, so your final answer would be 21.3. Looks like a lot of you are standing. Excellent. You got 3 more to do. 20, 21,
22.
and 30.
The heck?
Come on, don't I do that one first? 2.
Yes.
So 8, 3 times 3 is 9.
Right. So then it's gonna be 6 times 9.
Oops, 6 times 9.
If we use your calculator, because you don't have a chart, use it. Then pull up a chart on the plan.
Everybody should be trying these problems on their own, showing every step.
Hey, 9 times 9, 31.
Don't try to do stuff in your head.
Is that B? 9 times 9.
Yeah, 9 times 9 equals 31.
No, not 31.
8.
I don't see any work. So you have to show work on every, and I've been showing it on the board. This is your example.
Might do that
We're gonna be
later.
fixing it.
How many friends are we going to use?
And if, I'm gonna give you a second chance, you're not gonna break one, you can leave it one,
54. It's 54.
because that's, I've only focused on that on the last 2 days.
Equals 4. Hmm? So it's 27.
ahead and have a seat. And I want you to think about this. As I went around, several of you, and if you're not done, that's okay, just follow along where I'm at. A lot of you are not showing every single step, and I've told you, you need to show the steps because this is the beginning of algebra, and when you get next year, it's going to be a lot worse. You're going to make mistakes. Even if you're in my advanced class, it's a lot harder than this. So you would show 6 times, m is, what's m? 3 squared. Then, do I do 6 times 3 first? No. 3 squared first. So then this is 6 times 9, and 6 times 9 is?
54.
And that's your final answer.
Yes.
That's not that much work to show. I don't care if you get it right. If you don't show the work, you're not getting it right. So p squared, p is
9.
so I'm going to show 9 squared. I have to show that I replaced the 9 for the p. So I'm basically rewriting the whole problem, putting whatever the number is in for my letter. So then 9 squared is 81, and I have 81 divided by 3.
And that's 27.
I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to do 81 divided by 3. 3 goes into 8 how many times? 2 times. 3 goes into 21? 7 times. So my answer is 27. 30. Rewrite the problem, replacing the letter in, or the number in for the letter. N equals 7. So in parentheses, I've got 7 plus 2 squared divided by 3. So what is 7 plus 2? So now I have 9 squared divided by 3. What is 9 squared? So then I have 81 divided by 3. Do I actually have to do that again?
No.
No, I already did it up there.
27.
So my answer is 27. You have to show every single step. And notice when the square is outside the parentheses, you add first, then you square it. For your assignment, you need to circle these problems.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
10, 11,
12.
14, 17, 19, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, and that's it. There should be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 problems for you to complete.